The reign of OuTerverSe begins, and this is going to be the first look at the deck that's going to be printed for Rush Duel. Now, for the sake of this video, I won't be repeating OuTerverSe constantly, so I'm just going to be calling it Oats instead, being OTS and an E. So let's get into it and let's talk about them. So first up, we have Oats Acid Blob. And this card has 800 attack and defense, being a level 2 water aqua effect monster. And this card's name is Oats while it's in the graveyard. So one of the things I do want to note before we get into this, I believe all the cards have this simple condition on it. As I was glimpsing at the translations for the monsters, and it seems like all of them have this simple condition, which is absolutely fine. But let's get into it. You send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. This card's type becomes Galaxy until the end of the turn. If there's an Oats in your graveyard, then you could choose one face-up monster on your opponent's field and have it lose 500 attack and defense until the end of this turn. This card is a really niche start to the archetype, but being able to adjust attack and defense by 500 is really good. And it can help you get over strong monsters if you need be. Overall, I definitely think that they're going to be running at least a copy or two of this, but that's one thing we'll have to wait and see in the future to see what players do. So next up we have Oats Big Fungus. It is a level 2 earth plant effect monster with 1100 attack and 800 defense. You send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. This card's type becomes Galaxy until the end of the turn. Then you could choose one face down monster on your opponent's field and look at it. Also, if there are 5 or more Oats in your graveyard, then you could destroy that monster. Now this is a really powerful card in the late game if you already have your presence on the field and you have multiple Oats in your graveyard, and if you have the 5, you get to destroy the monster you look at. So overall, it's a really interesting card. I know this was used in the anime, and it's going to be something to keep an eye out on. Just be careful setting what monsters you want, because if you set as something that's super useful that you need, it's probably going to get blown up within a turn. And that's quite scary to think about. Next up we have Oats Anubastar. This is a level 4 Dark Beast Warrior effect monster with 1000 attack and 800 defense. This card is, of course, Oats like the rest, and you send the top cards, or you send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. This card's type becomes Galaxy until the end of the turn. Then you can choose one attack position monster on your opponent's field and change it to face up defense position. So this just is a stop attack or level limit area B that affects one monster. I think stop attack is a better example of this. So overall, it's a good card because it can force cards into defense position, and it can definitely help get around those interesting high attack monsters with a low defense like Monarchs, which honestly is a really good counter to being able just to send the top card of your deck to the graveyard just to switch something from attack to defense. After that we have Oats Rain Pal. This is a new card to the archetype or series of cards. It is a level 4 Water Thunder effect monster with 1200 attack and 800 defense. You send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. This card's type becomes Galaxy until the end of the turn. Then you can fusion summon an Earth, Water, Fire, or Wind monster by sending monsters from your hand or field to the graveyard as material, but you cannot attack with monsters this turn except Galaxy monsters. So this is actually relatively strong with the fusion that there is for the deck, and this implies that there's going to be more attributes in the future. This is really good to have now, because over the course of the next couple months we'll get reveals of more Oats fusion monsters, which is very obvious with how they have packs set up. But being able to send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard means you can hit more Oats cards, and overall I definitely think that this is going to be one of your main cards that you want to run at 3. Next up you have Oats Needlemaker. It's a level 4 Dark Machine effect monster with 1300 attack and 800 defense. And you send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. This card's type becomes Galaxy until the end of the turn. Then if you would tribute summon Oats Burst Oblivion in attack position, you can treat this face-up card as 2 tributes, but you cannot attack with monsters this turn except Galaxy monsters. This card's really strong because it gets to your Oblivion, which they did reveal tonight, and it allows you just to tribute it out with little to no real ease. You have all the ease in the world just to summon it out. Being able to send top 3 cards, it will allow you to net more Oats into the graveyard, which honestly is a really powerful effect. So this might be another 3-up along with the Rain Pal. So far pretty good. And then we have the one that a lot of people were waiting on. You have Oats Bug Buguazo. It is a level 6 Dark Spellcaster effect monster with 1900 attack and 1600 defense. Now this is a really interesting card, as if there are 3 or more Oats in your graveyard, you could normal summon this card without a tribute. And like all the other monsters, it becomes Oats while in the graveyard. You send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard for your requirement. This card's type becomes Galaxy until the end of the turn. Then you could choose 1 Oats Diversity Scream in your graveyard and add it to your hand. I believe that is the brand new trap card that they're getting. So you have a way to recover it back to the hand, which I really do like. Being able to recover specific cards to the hand definitely help out. Then we have Oats Sulfie Safert. It is a level 6 Wind Warrior effect monster with 2000 attack and 800 defense. And you send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. This card's type becomes Galaxy until the end of the turn. Then you could choose up to 3 monsters on your field and have them gain 200 attack times the number of different attributes among the face-up monsters on your field until the end of the turn. Now, if you all noticed, they are a mix of dark, earth, wind, and fire. So it's the 4 basic elements. And overall, this is a really powerful card going into turn 2 or even turn 3 if your opponent didn't set up enough to stop multiple attacks. Because if you manage to get something on lines of your Rain Pal along with Needlemaker and Buggy, you are in for a lot of mills. And if you have this on the board with your Buggy and your Needlemaker, you are off and you're doing quite well. And because you could just immediately change out the Needlemaker to the next card being Burst Oblivion. Now this card is the level 7 Pyro monster, and it has 2500 attack and defense. Now this is a very interesting effect monster because it's one of your main cards that you really would like to have in your hand or on your field, as you send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. This card's type becomes Galaxy until the end of the turn. Then you can choose 1 non-Pyro Oats in your graveyard and special summon it to your field face up, also for the rest of the turn. That special summon monster gains 700 attack and cannot be destroyed by the effects of your opponent's trap cards. Now this is very important because you can summon back things like your Sulfie Safert or even your Buggy Wazo, which honestly is really good, on top of getting back your Needlemaker if you really need to. So overall, this is a very powerful monster, and being able to just immediately summon it off if you have Needlemaker, you are all set. And now we have the new fusion monster being Oats Endless Doom Oblivion. It's a level 9 Pyro effect monster with 3500 attack and 2500 defense. The materials are 2 non-light monsters and Oats Burst Oblivion. So you're going to be making this with the Burst Oblivion, your Rain Pal, and just another Oats that you have. And the requirement is shuffle 5 Oats from your graveyard into the deck. This card's type becomes Galaxy until the end of this turn. Then for the rest of this turn, this card can attack each monster your opponent controls once. This is your game ender because if you pair the Doom Oblivion with your Sulfie Safert, you're going to be gaining 400 attack for each of them. And if you have an additional monster on the board, like your Buggy Wazo or even your Burst Oblivion, it's going to get an additional 700. But if this is in the graveyard, you could probably reborn it, I think, with your Burst Oblivion, but that's an additional 700 if you can, so there's a lot of things you could do with this card. But having this as your focus fusion monster is really good. Now let's get into the spells and trap cards. We have Oats Jumble Recovery. Now the spells and trap cards do not have this card's name is Oats while in the graveyard because they wanted to exclude them from that specific name, I believe. And for the requirement, if there's an Oats in your graveyard, multiples, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard, then you could choose up to 1 Oats and up to 1 Oats Detonating Fusion among them and add it to the hand. So being able to mill the top 3 cards is really good, and being a then you can isn't optional, so most of the time you're going to be adding up to 1 Oats from your graveyard to your hand when you're starters, most likely if you need to. And if you mill the Detonating Fusion, which is the trap card, the other trap card, you get to add it to your hand. So overall, this is a very good spell card, and I definitely like the recovery that this card has because you can add any of your monsters back to your hand. Now let's get into the OuTerverSe Reverse Domain. It is the field spell, and if there are 5 or more Oats in your graveyard with different types, while this card is face up in the field zone, during your turn, face up non-light galaxy monsters on your field gain 1500 attack, but during your opponent's turn, if there are 3 face-up monsters with different types on your field, those monsters cannot be destroyed by effects. So this helps your OTK strategy, being able to have this in your field zone if you have your Doom Oblivion on the board, along with your Sulfie Safert and your Burst or the Bug Buguazo, you are in for a treat because that's already a total of 600 bonus, so this is up to 41 plus another 15, that's up to 5600 attack. So most likely you are going to manage to win against your opponent if they manage to get rid of all your resources and manage to get the big fusion and Sylphie Safer and another attribute on the board. So this is a really powerful card, so be wary of that. Next up we have Diversity Scream from earlier. The requirement is if there's an Oats in your graveyard while your opponent declares an attack, the attacking monster loses 1000 attack until the end of the turn. Also, if there are 2 or more different attributes among the face-up monsters you control, then all face-up monsters on your opponent's field lose 2000 attack until the end of the turn. Now, this is really scary to attack into. Being able to lose out on all your attack can be really scary if you want to try and go in for game, because being able to drop 1000 is really strong, but being able to drop 2k is in the scary territory. I definitely like this trap card. It might be a 1 over 2 of, because you could, I believe, you could just grab it back from your graveyard to your hand, so it might be a 1 over 2 of, so there's that. And then finally we have the OuTerverSe Detonation Fusion. Sorry. It is a normal trap card. When a monster on your field is destroyed by your opponent's attack or your opponent's effects, choose 2 to 3 OuTerverSe in your graveyard and add it to the hand. Then you can fusion summon an Earth, Water, Fusion, or Wind monster in face-up attack position by shuffling monsters from your hand into the deck as material. So you're going to be adding 3 back, no matter what, and then you're just going to fuse them away to go into this, because it gets your Burst Oblivion back into the deck. So you're going to be just going into endless Doom Oblivion constantly. And honestly, doing that is just super crazy. Overall, what do I think about Oats? Without having to see the anime, I definitely think that Oats is going to be a very strong deck when it comes to Rush Duel, and just because of how much power it has behind it. Overall, I definitely think that this is going to be a very feasible deck that's going to be probably meta tier to like tier 1 on release, because anime archetypes tend to do that. As we've seen from Harpy Lady, that was a import from the TCG with additional cards that Rush got. Overall, I definitely think Oats is going to be a very strong deck going into the future, because we still have more to see for this deck. Some cards are definitely alright, but other cards are absolutely amazing. and I cannot wait to see how this deck evolves over time. But if you guys did enjoy this video, hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Also, comment down below what do you think, because engagement is everything. Also, I do have a TCG player link down in the description below. If you want to buy some TCG cards, go ahead and do that. And also, I have channel memberships, which are $1 a month. So there's that. But anyways, I've been BoltSpider, and I'll see you all in the next video.